All right, guys, we've got a lot of analysis to do here. So here's the deal. We're going to do a little bit of a summary here. We're going to tell you winners and losers of the debate, and best lines, worst lines, like we always do. And but I want you guys to know that some portion of this is going to be for members. So if you're a member, start switching over to that stream now so that everybody doesn't go at the same time. I know we got a little overloaded during the overall debate. So if you're not a member yet, tytnetwork.com/join. We'll be discussing the biggest fails, the biggest controversies of the debate, and whether Mike Pence is going to leave Trump's campaign. That's all going to be discussed. And if you're a member already, go to tytnetwork.com/members live to watch. Okay? So now let's get started. This debate was greatly anticipated, and we had no idea what was going to happen. Obviously, the Trump tapes a giant curveball right before the debate. He said some outrageous things about women that was caught on tape when he was talking to Billy Bush from Access Hollywood. How would Trump handle that? Would he be defensive? Would he go on the offense? He had all these women who would accuse Bill Clinton of sexual harassment in the audience. Well, we got our answer. He went on the offense. Did it work or did it not work? That's to be determined by the American people, because it was a bold move and a bold gambit, no question about that. And I tend to think that overall it did work. We're going to open it up here and see what the entire panel thinks. But they then went on to attack each other for a solid 20 to 30 minutes on emails, on taxes, etc. And then the debate settled down and wound up getting into some policy, Syria. That's where Trump, I thought, did a good job of saying, hey, she's had 30 years to fix this. That's a winning argument for him, whether you agree with it or not. And he kept going to that. At the same time, he would say things like, we're exhausted on nuclear. I will give economics to people. And then outrageous things like she has tremendous hate in her heart. So how does that play? Some people might look at that and go, well, he's just telling it like it is, and there's an honest talker. She gives boilerplate answers. It's the type of politics we've seen for 40 years, but I think people are kind of tired of that politics. So in summary of this debate, we had two totally different debating styles here. Trump, more personal and more aggressive. Hillary Clinton, more deflecting, more boilerplate. I tend to think that Trump came out the better for it. But, look, I'm a very aggressive guy, so maybe I'm biased in that sense. I'm curious what you guys thought. Summary of the debate.
Well, you're looking at me first. I think that the fact that Trump was able to get out of the tape that has consumed everybody's imagination and reality for the past 24 hours in the way that he did, I think was successful, because he didn't really have to answer for. He didn't apologize, which I don't think is necessarily successful.
He said
I don't think that he understood the depth of why people were upset. So I don't think that he apologized for his behavior. Locker room talk shouldn't have happened. But I don't think he realizes the effect that it had on people. And I don't know that it matters, because I don't think with his supporters, you saw his congressman who he had stood with a week ago went out to say they were renouncing him. They were getting booed in certain places. Now, Paul Ryan got more support than the boos. They looked at the boos. Joe Heck got more boos than support, all of that. But when you get to what Donald Trump, the fact that he was able to move past it as quickly as he was, I think was a success for him anyway. I think, though, that a success for him in this debate doesn't translate, because I don't think that he did anything. Certainly, you talk about policy. I think on policy he was a disaster, because he would ramble. He would, when she was asked questions, she would have answers. I don't think that helps her. I don't think it the fact that he didn't hurts him either. I think this was a base debate for Donald Trump. He's there to, solidify what's going on. I think he's probably going to throw these women in the spin room, and tomorrow people are going to, the Bill Clinton accusers, and tomorrow people are going to be talking about what Juanita Broderick said and what Catherine Willey said. I think he's going to keep this in the gutter. So I don't think it is going to help the overall for this candidate. He did fine. He did better than he did in the first, but I don't think it matters at all who did well. I don't think it matters that Hillary Clinton knew policy better, like I just said. I think that Donald Trump's task here is to stop the bleeding of voters, stop the bleeding of supporters. Maybe he did that a little bit, but I think it's too late because he didn't win anybody over tonight. He may have won some people back, but that's it.
Okay, let me, I'll go radical for you. First of all, Frank Luntz's group, and I don't know the makeup of it, but it was
30 people.
30 people, it was 21-9 for Trump. As to who had the greatest positive impact on your voting choice tonight. Again, I sense that if you're still undecided, my hunch is you lean to Trump, but I don't really know. I mean, you're looking for reasons to vote for Donald Trump. I'm stealing this a little bit from Tegan Goddard, who wrote his sort of analysis of the debate. Because when I was thinking about this over the weekend, I was thinking, like, this is so bad for Trump as it got worse. The same experience that you had, which was this is horrendous in America's reaction to it. That it was literally damaging his brand in a really meaningful way. Like, this is going to hurt him tens of millions of dollars, this is a serious blow. So I think this race is over, completely over. I think he knows it's largely over, and that this was about speaking to that audience and keeping what brand he has alive for what, again, we imagine is going to be the Roger Ailes, Steve Bannon, Donald Trump media venture that comes out after this that will be worth, probably, if done right, a lot of money.
Well, he'll be in jail if she's president. So.
Yeah, so now, if it is who won or lost the debate, yeah, I suppose he probably won. Again, he won because of nothing short of a bar that we thought, is this guy going to use the P word or the N word or some word we've never even heard, a phrase like, guy makes language up for how we talk to women. And he didn't. And he did deflect it a little bit, and he was more personable because he made some jokes and the audience laughed a couple times. I don't think that matters, and I don't think that he thinks it matters anymore either. I can't know what's in his heart, but my hunch is he's rectifying and trying to save the Trump brand with a really loyal audience of 35 to 45 million Americans.
Yeah, I really don't agree, but I want to let Jimmy weigh in and then.
No, I was just glad the whole time I was watching it. I was so thankful that Bernie Sanders wasn't on the stage because Trump would have just destroyed him by calling him a socialist. So that's a good thing, right? Because they were right about that. The whole thing of if it's not over for Trump, then it'll never be. You know what I mean? It's like I think this helped him, the debate, that it was so near when this happened. I think if this normalizes him, to have him on TV for an hour and a half, or at least an hour of it, talking normally, like a normal person and she's referring them, she shakes his hand afterwards, and they cut him off, but then they have to cut off her too. She made the mistake of talking over just like him, so she couldn't even win that one. So, I mean, her goal should have been to try to make him look unhinged, and she did try to get under his skin a couple times, but he is just a maniac, and he came back at her with a lot more stuff. I think it does normalize him. I think every time you talk to him like a normal person, it normalizes him. So, again, the whole thing of did he gain voters? I don't know. There's people that are still undecided. I can't predict what the brain dead or damaged are going to do.
So here's the parts I agree and disagree with. I think Jimmy makes a great point there. He seemed monstrous after the tapes, and then he's in hiding for about 48 hours. And then they have a debate. That's a fair, there's dramatic moments in it, but it's a fairly normal debate. And then all of a sudden we're back into, okay, we're having a normal discussion between this guy and that woman, and that's it. We're back to normal, right? And so I thought this debate might knock him out if it went poorly. But now, having gone through the debate, I actually think it helped him. I think it went back to, all right, he said, she said, and we're back in the soup. So now the part that I really disagree with you guys on is, yeah, there are undecideds. Yes, this could make a difference. So I see the polls. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down.
That's not really true that they're wildly going up and down. They've done what they've done in almost every election.
No, but Ben, we look at Real Clear Politics average every day, all of us, right? And so you see Hillary Clinton build up a lead, and then she lost the lead, and it was getting close to tied. Now she's rebuilt the lead.
I just mean that for 13 of the last 15 weeks, she's had a lead of around 3 to 5 points. Like it actually is fairly stable when you step back. Yeah, she did.
I don't agree. I think that at one point she had a 10-point lead.
No, she never had a 10-point lead.
He had a 1-point lead.
She never had a 10-point lead.
When was there a
never,
10-point
never.
lead?
She never had it. She had a lead
after the DNC.
No, No, never.
Okay, we'll have to go back and look at the numbers.
I've looked at it every day. There's nobody on this panel you're going to meet anybody who knows better than that.
You think that she had a 3 to 5 point lead, period,
No.
that it hasn't moved?
No, it has moved, but basically, she was up by a little over 6 points after the convention, and in a couple polls, she had in one poll by 13 at one point. But the average was about 6.5 points. Then it shrunk to about 1.8, really probably 2.5, depending on what weight people literally give one poll, the LA Times poll, which has him consistently ahead.
I saw a Real Clear Politics average where she was up by 0.2.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Okay,
No, you didn't.
right.
Her lead got under. It may even have been 0.9 at one point in Real Clear Politics. They count the LA Times poll. Other places don't. But even so, now that's back. It was there briefly, and then she built it back. I'm just saying, yeah, you're not totally wrong, but it's been a fairly stable race of one that she has been ahead by around 4 points, which is where she is now. She might be a little ahead of that right now.
So when the lead goes from up 6, I'm taking Ben's numbers, okay, to down, what, 1.5, right?
Not down 1.5. Up.
No, I'm saying down to a lead of a 1.5, right? Even taking Ben's numbers, yes, there's movement. The rest of America does not live in a world like us where we are this deep into news. They're like, what happened? Oh, man, Trump said the thing about the pussy, and oh, my God, Hillary's such a liar, right? And that's because it's not their job, right? But 100 million people watch these debates, and they look at this debate.
80.
And so, the ones who
counting
take the
online,
internet.
yeah.
Actually,
and
this
everything
one there
else
may
they
be
do.
more than that, because, or certainly for the first 20
Yeah,
minutes.
and I think Trump won this debate. I think Trump won it, maybe even handily, okay? And so people look at it and go, I wasn't sure about the tapes, but you know what? She hasn't done anything in 30 years, and she's two-faced, and she says she's got a public and private position. But more important than anything else, he sounds like a human being. She sounds like a talking point machine. And people can't stand that, especially the undecided independents. They can't stand it. So when you look at this, do
you think this moved the needle at all? Honestly, do you think this moved the needle?
Obviously, he does.
No,
He thinks he won the debate. He thinks all of these things, which when you put it in the context of the debate, different candidates at every debate, whether there's 17 on the stage or 2, they have different things they need to accomplish in a presidential debate at any level, primaries or otherwise. But so you're saying that he accomplished what he needed to accomplish in this debate tonight, which he may have done. But do you think he moved the needle at all in this election?
I think that there's some chance, yes. So I'm not saying that she's going to lose and you guys are wildly off base. I see the polling the same as you guys see the polling, okay? So, and we all agree where it is today. There's no dispute about where it is today. She's up by about 4 in the polling, right, on the national average. So that means she's likely to win. There's a month left, and then you go state by state. She's regained the lead by a tiny bit in Ohio. She's got now comfortable leads in Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Colorado, Virginia, very important states. So we all see that. So I'm not saying like, oh my God, Washington on this debate changed everything and now he's going to win. No, but are there people who are undecided? Yes. Did Trump win this debate? I think the answer is yes. So we could have had a knockout blow here. He could have fumbled it. She could have put him away.
How though?
And then,
But Cenk,
and then
tell
it
me
would have
then-
moved to 6 and 7 points.
Tell me
And
what
if
the
a
knockout blow was. It's already been happening before this tape came out, before this debate. What's the knockout blow that could have happened tonight for Hillary Clinton?
If at the end of this debate, and because of the tapes alone, this might happen anyway. If by the middle or end of next week, she's sitting on a 7-point national average lead, and she's got double-digit leads in Virginia and Colorado, this race is over. Okay, it's over. Now, could she have done well enough tonight to get it there? I think the answer was yes, she could have. She didn't. Now, is there enough of a pullback from that to make Trump competitive? Fair question. The answer is likely not, so I'm not disagreeing with you guys on that. But I think that he at least gave himself a prayer here tonight by winning the debate.
I don't even disagree with anything you said. All I care about is what I know to be true, which is what the numbers actually are when you step back. And it is as stable generally as almost every other election has been recently. It is not that unstable. That's all I was saying. I think he won the debate too. And I think it's possible that it would help him. I don't disagree. I don't know. No one has their finger farther away from the pulse of America than I do. That point has been made clear to me over the last year. But she's ahead, by the way, in Real Clear Politics by 4.6 points in a head-to-head and 6.3 points in the Huffington Post pollster. And they take, Huffington Post leaves out a poll that Real Clear Politics doesn't. I think that accounts for most of the difference.
And also, let's not forget from a purely political standpoint, he split with his running mate on Syria,
Yes.
which is really important.
It's
he admitted
amazing.
to the American people that he did not pay $1 billion in tax or close to it. And he also said that he would put his opponent in jail. I mean,
It's like a threat to democracy.
Yeah, that kind of stuff resonates. And if his task is to increase his flock so that he can become president, there's nothing in those three things that does that. Mike Pence, I would imagine, is going to be the loyal servant, come back to him, kiss his ass, say you did great, all those things, because he wants to stay in the race. But the tumult that the Republicans are going to go through over these next days with all of these elected officials who are seeing that Donald Trump, quote unquote, won this debate, it's a loss for the party, because they're going to have to somehow either go back on what they said in the wake of this tape or endorse somebody that they're really not comfortable endorsing.
Let me do okay, shoot, I got to answer that real quick. I think him saying I don't agree with Pence, no problem. In fact, he seems strong. Again, you have to think about it from the perspective of the completely uninformed, undecided voter, right? They're not like, oh wow,
Fine.
they seem split. Like, oh, he's
But
in
I'm
charge,
talking about
right?
I'm talking about the people that have been running from him over the last 24 hours. I'm not talking about the voters.
And then I think he won on taxes, even though he should have lost badly.
How did he win on taxes? He admitted he didn't pay taxes.
He said, hey, listen, man, I took advantage of the laws. She screwed up, but she did it for her donors. And she did. And
New voter. I'm a voter. I'm thinking about voting for Donald Trump. But he didn't pay taxes. I mean, he's trying to win people over now. He has numbers that are devastatingly bad in many states. He's trying to increase that number. He's got a ceiling that's actually falling that I didn't think could fall. I actually thought that he had a stable base of voters, and that this debate helped to keep that base coalesced. Once that base, though, it started to fracture over the weekend, then he had to go beyond that to get other people in. I don't think he did that, no matter how well, no matter how he exceeded expectations.
I think it'll be very telling to learn because the stories are that Mike Pence keeping his options open, as Michael mentioned before the debate. I think it would be a huge move for Pence to get out. It would help him for years to come. Now, I don't know whether it would guarantee him a 2020 nomination, but I think it would help him because because he has something to risk. Like these other guys, you know, Joe Heck, Kelly Ayotte, they're in elections, but they're not risking much. They're making tactical decisions. Mike Pence will be walking away from a chance to be vice president. It will be seen as principled. That's the way it'll be covered. It would be so. But my hunch is, because Trump won the debate, that Mike Pence is calling him right now and saying, great, and Trump will get a little boost from essentially winning Mike Pence over twice, and that tomorrow they'll be somewhere together. Maybe or some point soon they'll be somewhere.
It's very extreme for the vice president to leave the ticket
That's
anyway.
right. That's
so
right.
The bar for bringing him back is probably quite low.
Right. Like it shouldn't be celebrated,
Right.
but it will be celebrated because the simple decision of the vice president not abandoning the person who picked him will be seen as some sort of great victory for Donald
That's
Trump.
political science. I mean, that's really kind of how it works.
So I think Mike Pence will be the nominee, the vice presidential nominee going forward. You had an interesting question about who we think will
whether
be.
it be Giuliani, whether it be Pence, or
Christie.
whether it be Chris Christie. And
Yeah, I think that Ben's exactly right. Pence, being the scummy politician that he is, was looking to see if this was the knockout blow, in which case he was going to pull the chute. Or if Trump wins, be like, oh yeah, Donald, of course, I was always on your side.
Right.
Of course, Donald. Donald,
I
by the way, will then make him kiss his ass.
yeah. I
He'll
agree.
will
though.
make
I
him
agree
get
with
on
you,
his
Cenk.
knees.
I agree with you. I agree with Ben. I think that he's going to stay. Do you think he's going to stay?
I don't think Pence is going anywhere.
Yeah,
No,
I
no,
don't.
that guy, are you kidding me? He's out of his mind, happy about where he's at and everything. The thing is, it is awkward. And, you know, these Republicans who are starting to distance themselves from Donald Trump because of this tape, you know, it's just weird that he can call for war crimes and that doesn't make them distance themselves. Or he can say that, you know, people who are captured soldiers are heroes, and that doesn't. But they all have daughters or granddaughters. And I saw somebody tweeted out a picture of Pence at a restaurant, and over the shoulder is a TV screen with the Trump thing, and them saying that, and he's there with, I guess, his granddaughters or whatever. So I think that is what's moving people, that they can't, their kids aren't going to ask them about the technicalities of war crimes, but they do know what he just said about the P word, right?
Totally. You know, it's funny because as you mentioned that, then if we think in some capacity that Trump won this debate, Michael, you would think he maybe won, but big effing deal,
Right, yeah,
right?
yeah.
Can I just say real quick? Can we get does everybody think he won the debate?
Yes.
I do, yeah.
I do. So we all actually agree for what it's worth.
Right, and then it's
that he
just a
won the
matter of
debate.
putting a value on what winning this debate means. But before this, I thought, you know,
I think it was a push.
it was a Bush.
Billy.
The Apprentice producer saying there are a million tapes out there. Everybody is working to get other tapes. There's, you know, somewhere does Donald Trump's, you know, does he use the N-word in a tape, right? Because that would lose him literally none of his support. But I thought then, like, oh, this is a waste of time if journalists are going to chase down stuff that doesn't matter because it's done. But if he won the debate and if he gets a little action for it and Mike Pence sort of rejoins, and then there's going to be value in 5 days from now, another horrible thing that this horrible man
Well,
said.
and you have to understand that I just got a tweet from a reporter who's in, from a reporter who's in the spin room right now. The Clinton accusers in the spin room.
Yeah.
So the headlines coming out of this will be that Donald Trump vindicated himself, and the stories, the ugly stories about Clinton. And the Republican Party, the Republicans themselves, don't really feel like going near that is great, even if they despise Hillary Clinton, and even if they just feel like she is a criminal, that she broke laws, and these tax loopholes that he was able to jump through wouldn't have been there if it weren't for her, as he said tonight. Even people who don't like her, that's again base politics. That's a Republican base, and the people who don't like what he did, that's Democratic base. Neither increased their bases. That's why I say it's a push. The fact that Donald Trump did better than he did in the first debate may be a win for him, but I think in the end, you cannot take the context out of it.
The least important, and by the way, the least important debate is always debate number two.
The second debate,
right?
yeah.
The first debate makes a huge.
The vice presidential debate.
Yeah, no, I'm looking, but just for the record, I'm looking forward to the vice presidential debate. I think Tim Kaine
It's going to be good.
Tim Kaine is going to
it's gonna be
surprise a
good.
lot
That's
of people.